Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker. Established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys and offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by Business First Bank, with locations throughout the state, including 11 offices in the Baton Rouge area, providing personal and commercial banking, treasury management, and wealth solution services to help clients succeed. Business First Bank. Banking with greater momentum. At b1bank.com.
From Mansurs on the Boulevard, we're out to lunch with Stephanie Regal. Stephanie Regal is a broadcaster and editor of Baton Rouge Business Report. It's business Baton Rouge style.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Regal. Welcome to Out to Lunch. South Louisiana is one of the true food capitals of the world, known for both its Creole and Cajun fare, and more recently, its contemporary twist on classic Southern dishes. And though New Orleans often gets top billing for its famous restaurants and innovative chefs, Baton Rouge has a growing food scene that is vibrant and exciting in its own right. In fact, Baton Rouge is home to the school that trains many of the chefs that go on to top restaurants around the state and around the country. The Louisiana Culinary Institute was founded in 2003 and in the 13 years since has graduated more than 1,000 students, awarding degrees in culinary arts and culinary management with concentrations in advanced baking and pastry and advanced culinary arts. Charlie Ruffolo is here to tell us about it. He's the public affairs manager for LCI, a native of Chicago who grew up working in the family's produce business. Charlie, welcome to Out to Lunch.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you for having me. This is a wonderful opportunity. This is just amazing. The lunch is going to be awesome today, and we're excited. I'm excited to be here.
We're glad you're here.
Yeah.
Well, while a culinary degree and a career in the restaurant or hospitality industry is the path many foodies choose, plenty others take a more entrepreneurial approach, using multiple platforms to promote their menus, recipes, ideas, and products, such is the case with Lili Courtney, who owns Delightful Palate, a Baton Rouge company that produces a line of salad dressings. Its website features Courtney's recipes and blog. She also teaches cooking classes at supermarkets around the area and makes frequent appearances on local TV shows. Lili, welcome to Out to Lunch.
It is my pleasure. Thank you.
I'm glad you are here. Well, Charlie, I'd like to start with you because LCI is a great success story, and I think probably a lot of people don't really know the story behind it. It's only 13 years old. You would have thought Louisiana would have had a cooking school for years, but it's a relatively new phenomenon and a successful one.
It is. And our story is of a family business. And our owner is my father-in-law, Mr. Keith Rush. And it started because his brother was going to another culinary school in town. It used to be called Kayla, and it lost its accreditation. It went out of business. And my father-in-law actually knew about opening restaurants, medical clinics and things like that. So his brother needed to go through and finish. And we talked, we've opened up other medical clinics before. How hard could a culinary school be? So he kind of looked into it, did a little bit of research. We used to be over on the Essen and Perkins location, and we've evolved since then. We started off as a certificate program. Now we have an associate's program, and then the bachelor's program is coming. And it's just been this evolution of students that have just wanted to come in. They've wanted to learn more. They've wanted to get into this field because it is exciting. These restaurants and this food scene in Louisiana, it's amazing.
I had no idea it was a totally private school.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you said, how hard could it be? I would imagine it would be really actually pretty hard. I mean, it seems like there would be a lot of accreditation, a lot of steps you'd have to jump through, at least to create a reputable culinary school.
It is.
Yet you are.
And it starts with the students. So it starts with an admissions process. It starts with doing background checks. We need credible students that want to get into this field, that are passionate. And so we do that. We put students through an admissions process, Wonderlic testing, culinary math, essays, interviews, all of that. So we're only accepting 30 students per semester for culinary and 16 for baking and pastry. So we're looking for passionate students that want to do this. Not somebody that just wants to come in and I saw this on the cooking channel. I saw this on the Food Network. I think I can go ahead and be the next Emeril. That's not necessarily what we're looking for.
That's not your target market.
Yeah, no. We're looking for a particular type of student that wants to
Now, I would
succeed.
imagine for the sake of credibility, it would require also some very experienced chefs or professionals. Do you all have some of them on staff or a principal professor?
So when you get into the culinary industry, and especially in education, you need to become ACF certified, and we are. So, and our chefs come from all over the country. We just don't have Louisiana chefs. We are proud of having some of those, Cajun Creole chefs, but we have chefs that come from, Virginia, Indianapolis, from Boston, from all over, because they need to be able to teach a well-balanced type of education for our students. So, we make sure that they go through their continual education. They have to keep up their accreditations, their certifications, all of those things that are very important part of what goes on in our business and our life every day.
And y'all have graduated about 1,000 students so far. They've gone all over the country. Any famous ones?
They've gone all over the world. We've had students that were just most recently last year. We had a student that was up in Antarctica that was working for a company cooking over there. We've had students to go to Australia. We've had students, go overseas to England. Of course, we're very proud of our local graduates. Sam and Cody Carroll. They just won Restaurant of the Year over in Sacalay, and they've owned Hot Tails in New Roads, but Sacalays in New Orleans. Obviously, Ryan Andre, over at City Pork, Nathan Gresham over at Beausoleil. So the list is continually it's growing. So we're extremely proud of all of our students and our graduates.
Those are well-known names here in the local food community. Is it expensive to attend? Do y'all have scholarships?
We do, yeah. So the way that the culinary school kind of works is just like any other normal college. We have financial aid that's available for those that qualify. There's potential scholarships, grants, and things like that. Tuition is $34,000, and that's for the entire program. It's a 2-year program compressed into 16 months, but there's a tremendous amount of opportunities for students through the NRA, National Restaurant Association, the Louisiana Restaurant Association, their education foundation, which is amazing, ProStart. So there are some great opportunities for students coming in.
Well, I'm going to come back to you and hear a little bit more about it in a minute. Yes. Lili, you didn't graduate from the Louisiana Culinary Institute, but you always had a passion for food and for cooking. What came first for your company? Was it the recipes? Was it the sauces? Was it your blog and website?
It was cooking classes. My father was a great cook. There was 8 children, and that was one of his favorite ways to entertain us. He would cook, and we would all be there. It was just a lovely Friday, Saturday, and Sunday event for him. So as I grew up, I did start teaching cooking classes, just teaching myself. I've been lucky enough to take classes all across the country from great chefs and taught in my home in Alexandria, Louisiana for a while. And then I got invited to teach at a gourmet shop, so that's where I'd been for the last couple of years. So yes, they kind of are a spin-off. I see it as a package,
Right.
I created a product that is for people who love good food but lack time or talent. I put it in a bottle for you.
So tell us about the products. Y'all have 3 sauces
I
on
have
the market
3
right now?
salad dressings. I have a balsamic garlic honey, a stone fruit nectar, and a wild mayhaw berry.
Wonderful. And you make them where?
I make them at the LSU Food Incubator. I am one of those that make
that's a
one of the
wonderful program.
25 companies out there that make the product from them.
Right. And so how long have y'all been around, and how far and wide is your distribution at this point?
So you are considered not in business until you get into distribution. So I just recently moved to to Baton Rouge from Alexandria. So I would say probably 18 months in distribution. I moved over to the incubator at the beginning of 2014.
Okay. And I know there are a lot of homegrown products, and there's more demand for them. Many of them are very, very good. What sets yours apart, and how do you get the shelf space in the local supermarkets?
Yeah, well, we have been very lucky here in Baton Rouge. When I moved here, the local independent grocery stores are very welcoming. So
yes,
that's nice. And that's kind of your base to see if it's going to sell. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like your prototype, to see if you have a viable product.
So they'll just move over
a
little space for
they
something?
definitely make room for you.
Okay.
Yes. And
okay.
And if you're coming from the incubator, they also come with a good reputation. So they admire that. So it's easier to get in.
Now, did you have a business background at all to help
Not
with
at
this?
all. That's why I use the LSU business, Charlie Dagg's operation, and also Gay Sandoz has been a great help.
Yeah, I bet it's been a big learning curve.
It's a definite big learning curve. Tenacity.
How important is the website and the blog to the marketing of the product? It all goes together?
Yeah, it all goes together because I also in the back of grocery stores doing lots of demos. I have people sign up for it because I send out recipes. And that way they also know to look on Facebook to see what I'm doing, where I'm going to be, what classes I'm teaching, and that way it all stays connected.
Do you plan to go beyond Baton Rouge?
Yeah, yes. Actually, I've been.
And are you already?
I am already. I have been pushed into the southwest region of Whole Foods.
Oh,
and
fantastic.
so I do a lot of traveling to, San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, demoing the product, getting to know the marketing managers over there, getting to know the teams, and doing demos.
Now, when you're in Whole Foods, do you have to guarantee a certain quantity on the front end? Or?
It's you schedule demos and you go there and you knock it off the shelf and they order more.
That's great.
That's how you do it.
Well, Lili and Charlie, I'd like to introduce you to a special guest who's also joining us today. She's also in the food business, sort of. Her name is Mitzi Barber, a Baton Rouge native, a wife, a mother of two, and a coffee enthusiast whose company, Aquiem Coffee Water, has created a special purified mineral blended water for blending the perfect cup of coffee. We met Mitzi through the Louisiana Business and Technology Center. Mitzi, welcome to Out to Lunch.
Thanks, Stephanie. It's great to be here.
Now, your product is so interesting and I think relatively novel. Is there anybody else on the market doing what you're doing?
We're proud to say no. We are just rolling out in Baton Rouge, and there is no other product like us on the market anywhere.
So tell us about this product. It's a special kind of water that makes a better cup of coffee.
It is. Well, and it not only makes a better cup of coffee, Stephanie, it's also a very healthy product. It's pure water. There's nothing in it that we're going to be afraid of.
Okay.
And
so maybe the timing is really relevant for you now with
yes,
questions about water safety?
It does seem so. But there are minerals blended into this pure water, and it's a perfect recipe of minerals that bring out the brewing of coffee or tea to make it very aromatic, smooth, and delicious. It brings out the subtleties of the coffee bean.
What kind of minerals are we talking about here?
Well,
without getting too technical?
That's right. It's a trade
okay.
secret, but I can tell you this. There's just a slight amount of sodium, that's not a major mineral, but magnesium is one that brings out the flavor of the coffee, the aroma of the coffee, and it also intensifies the caffeine in the coffee too. So you might feel a little more
interesting
caffeine buzz when you're trying our product.
Now, I know coffee enthusiasts will pay extra for, sometimes up to $12 a pound at Whole Food, like we were talking about, for a really high-end coffee. Do you think they're going to be, or have they shown a willingness to pay extra for a fancy water?
Yes. What we're seeing is that in our demonstrations, we're with Lili. We do market to grocers, and we are in 3 groceries in town so far, and we do find a willingness for them to open their doors to us and make space for us. We are finding our taste test, our demonstrations are, the responses that we're getting are phenomenal.
Really?
People are loving tasting the difference between even our Baton Rouge water and our product. So coffee made with our product is quite different. Lili has tried it and Charlie has tried it. There's quite a nice difference.
Now, if I tasted it just in a regular drinking glass, would I like the flavor, or does it only really work in a brew, like a coffee?
It's a brew. Certainly it's a healthy water for us all to drink. Mm-hmm. But the enjoyment of this product is when you brew it with coffee or tea.
Okay. And you think that this is a general public product or just for the coffee connoisseur?
Well, we're finding that our first target was, of course, the gourmet coffee drinker.
Right.
But what we're finding is that people are passionate about their coffee. No matter what, they love
People
coffee.
are passionate about coffee, no doubt.
So in our demonstrations, we are really enjoying watching people taste our coffee and enjoy, even if they are not into the highest brewing process or coffee bean.
Where does this water come from before it undergoes the purification process?
Well, at this point, we are using a co-packer in Florida, but we are actively working on looking at property here and talking to people about production equipment, because our goal is having a fully Baton Rouge business. We are a Baton Rouge business now using this co-packer, but we would like to be the production company here. We really love Baton Rouge, and we want to be 100% Baton Rouge.
Interesting. Charlie, how many of your graduates do you think go on to be food entrepreneurs like Mitzi or Lili, as opposed to chefs or caterers or restaurant people?
That's a great question, and that is definitely a viable opportunity for the students. So I think the majority of the students that come in, they have an idea that they just want to work in the food and they want to be in the restaurants. And then once they're here, meaning here at Louisiana Culinary Institute, they have that opportunity to meet all of these different people. So we have industry seminars. We have people that come in, like Mitzi or Lili, people that are looking for other assistants. And before you know it, they're like, I much would rather talk about food. I'd much rather sell food. I'd much rather taste it than necessarily, be on the line, cooking, making it, baking, whatever it is. So every semester, a whole group of students come in, and there's always 3 or 4 that matriculate outside, and then they're just like, no, this is what I want to do. I would much rather be on this end, but at least I have the background and the knowledge and the understanding and the fundamental basics of where the food comes from and how to cook it, maintain it, and then now I can go ahead and either sell it or talk about it or photography or write a blog or something about it too.
Do y'all have courses that help prepare food entrepreneurs?
So
like
the curriculum that's developed right now is basically how to get into the industry, the wheres, the highs, the who's, and it kind of builds up. So it's more definitely about getting into the restaurant, but then we do have breakout sessions and we do have other guests that we bring in, and the industry seminars really open that up. So we will have that opportunity, and especially with the bachelor's program, there will be some electives that will go more into some of the classes that
That's
you're talking
great.
about. Yeah.
Do y'all think it would have helped you to have had a formal food education background?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. But we're very lucky to have a food scientist where we are at LSU, Dr. Luis Espinoza. And so that's closed that gap.
That's great. That's good to know.
I agree. My business partner, Jerry Manally's husband, is an environmental engineer. So, I love education. I'd love to be in a culinary school. What we do have at our disposal, though, is an industrial engineer who specializes in groundwater. He's got a very successful business here in Baton Rouge for toxicological testing. And so he is our water expert. And then we are learning all the time from coffee roasters in town and out of town. So we are just learning.
We have several coffee roasters here in Baton Rouge that have great little businesses going. So you collaborate with them?
We do. As a matter of fact, we have found one that we are enjoying showing his product off. He is Cafecito. He is in Calandros and Alexander's, and he is a very fresh, complex, wonderful. He produces a very wonderful product, and we are loving demonstrating our water with his product.
I don't think I got to ask you, how did you come up with the idea for Aquiem?
Well, that's an interesting story. I'll keep it brief. Frank Manally, the inventor of this water, my business partner's husband, is a thinker. He's an inventor, and he knows water. So he was he's not even a coffee drinker. He was just thinking about water. And then he started thinking about coffee and how coffee is 98% water. Mm-hmm. So naturally, then he started thinking about Coca-Cola and McDonald's and how they need a consistent product. Well, coffee needs a consistent product too. Roasters need to combine coffee with a consistent product that brings out the flavor of what they have worked so hard to produce, a delicious coffee.
That makes so much sense. So now just to convince the buying public and the coffee drinking public that they need it too.
Exactly. That's what we're here for.
Okay, well, we're going to take a little break and do what we call the checklist. This is the part of the show where we ask you each a quick question that you probably wouldn't find on a loan application. So, Lili, I'll start with you. What is your trick for staying positive?
I am just lucky I was born that way. I'm not kidding. But I
believe it,
because
you're one of these very positive people. You exude it.
So that's what I'm going to say. Not that I don't love to exercise and juice and do all the right things, but it does come just naturally.
Well, that's very good. Charlie, what part of your job gives you the most satisfaction?
No, yeah, that's also another great question. I think it's hands down seeing the evolution of the student. Seeing what happens when they come in. They're extremely either green or eager. They just don't know kind of where they're going to go and what happens. And then they get into the program. And then they immerse themselves into the food, into the lifestyle, into working while going to school, managing the hours, everything. And then before you know it, it's graduation, and we're placing them, at a beautiful resort, a local restaurant, in a hotel, and seeing how they've matured in such a short period of time, and now they can be a part, of the workforce and do something that's wonderful, and that's enjoying food that we all eat every day. So that's
great.
Hands down the most gratifying part.
All right. Well, Mitzi, here's a related one, sort of. What is your strategy for coping when things go wrong?
Well, we are a startup business. We are on the tails of Lili Courtney. We're only a month in, and we are at the incubator, as you mentioned. We are just learning about entrepreneurship, and there are lots of highs and lows. And we are a Christian organization, and we do a lot of praying. We enjoy the highs and lows, but there's a lot of prayer that goes in this as we go along.
Well, tell me, how big do you want to get? Lili, Mitzi, what are your goals for the growth of your respective companies? I mean, do y'all hope to get bought out one day? Or do you want to keep growing and expanding yourself?
That's a very interesting question. Right now, I'm enjoying growing it, my own business, as the way it is. And also with the cooking classes. I teach team building cooking classes, and I incorporate the product. I do it for hospitals. I do it for corporations. So to me, I see it as a package deal.
Right.
So I'm in the Southwest region right now. I'm in some 22 HEBs in Houston and San Antonio and Austin, and I'm in the Southwest region of Whole Foods. So right now, it's going quite well. Just trucking along.
Mitzi, I want you to answer that question, but Lili, before we leave, what is team building cooking?
So in other words, if you would bring the people that you work with in your corporation, it's to get to know each other. It's to, break down all the barriers. And so we break up and, I come across with a menu. We break it down to trays, and you and your partner or someone you don't get along with in your company, y'all sneak away and you're going to make the pasta or you're going to make the sauce or, in that.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Much better than Outward Bound or whatever they used to do when...
Yes, this is a much more casual way to do it.
Much more casual.
Yeah.
I bet people really enjoy it.
Yes.
And what a unique niche.
Well, it depends on which. I like technique and I like seasonal.
Yeah.
So I have done everything from a bruschetta's bar, which we learned to make our own ricotta, right? And then the toppings we incorporated my flavors, So there's nothing better than a roasted sweet potato with wild mayhaw dairy. So it's got that kind of fun, And so it could be, we do pastas, we do, I've done show-stopping side salads for the holidays. So it depends on what time of the season you call me.
Did you create this idea, or are other people doing team building?
Yeah, other people are doing team building, yes. It's just one thing I'm kind of good at.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Mitzi, where do you see your company going? I mean, is your goal to sell one day or to keep growing it yourself?
Wow. Since we're just a month in, we're enjoying growing it at this point. Certainly, well, we're just enjoying the success that we've seen so far,
so good.
And we'll see what happens down the road.
Yeah, money talks, right?
Right. What kind of synergy do you all see among food-related businesses, restaurants in the Baton Rouge area? I mean, are you all talking to each other, collaborating?
We do. We're involved, on every single level. Just yesterday, we had a job fair. We had over 35 different local businesses, hotels, everybody recruiting for our students. So we're always, communicating, talking with everyone in the industry, seeing what they want, seeing what they need. And that's an important part, of what goes on. I know you guys have wonderful products, that would go great. But for us, we got to stay in touch with the chefs, with the owners, with, all of these opportunities that are for the students, so they know where we personally can place the best student in the right area. So that's our involvement. We're always going to be doing and focusing on those relationships.
And we feel so welcomed by the community, by the food and beverage community. We have people even at the incubator and beyond who are reaching out to us and helping us, teaching us, introducing us to other people. It's been a great network. It's been a great experience.
Yeah, they're very generous around here. They do help you out tremendously.
Yeah, I mean, I think the incubator is a real unifying networking sort of force.
And the Chamber of Commerce, may I say. The Baton Rouge Chamber of Commerce has been so helpful in getting us started and introducing us to the incubator.
That's great. Good plug for Brack. Well, I have one final question for y'all. We're almost out of time. It's sort of a variation on a theme for each of you. Charlie, if you could have one special celebrity chef come teach a course at LCI, who would it be?
Wow. That's going to be a tough one. I know some other people are going to, obviously be conflicted if we're going to go with a local like Bash or Emerald or something like that. But someone like a Thomas Keller would be amazing. Just the experience, the wealth, and the knowledge.
For the listeners who don't know who he is, tell us real quick.
So he's one of the most famous, American chefs. Owns French Laundry out in California, out in San Francisco. James Beard, author, the whole nine, the whole bit. So that would be an amazing accomplishment to get someone like that in. But any of those other local guys, we have such a plethora of just awesome chefs here. So we've worked with some of those, and we have a lot of our graduates that work with them. But yeah, that would be great. But getting Bash in and those guys are great too. They're amazing. So don't set me up with a loaded question.
Right.
Yeah, because we want to support local.
Lili, if you could cook a special meal for any one person, famous or otherwise, who would it be?
Oh gosh, that's so interesting. Well, it's so much fun to friends and family. There's nothing more than sitting around a table full and plus my sons. Now that they're raised and out of the house, there is
just to have them back would be
nothing
great, right?
more lovely than that.
Despite the many challenges Louisiana faces, food and the food industry have always been one of our strengths, and the Louisiana Culinary Institute, Delightful Palate, and now Aquiem Coffee Water are three examples of the homegrown successes we have right here in Baton Rouge. So thank you all for joining me today on Out to Lunch.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Great to be here.
This is great.
My guests today on Out to Lunch have been Charlie Ruffolo of the Louisiana Culinary Institute, Lili Courtney of Delightful Palate, and Mitzi Barber of Aquiem Coffee Water. You can find out more about the Louisiana Culinary Institute, Delightful Palate, and Aquiem Coffee Water by visiting our website or by following the links on our websites, wrkf.org and itsbatonrouge.la. Today's show was recorded live over lunch at Mansurs on the Boulevard in Baton Rouge. Mansurs is open for lunch daily from 11 to 2, for dinner nightly, and for brunch on Saturdays and Sundays. The producer of our show is Grant Morris. Our technical producer is Eric Merle. Today's show is engineered by Chris Kehoe. Our associate producer is Peter Raschuti. Our Baton Rouge business consultants are Charlie D'Agostino and Ann Edelman. You can see photos from this show on itsbatonrouge.la and on our Facebook page. These photos are taken by Ken Stewart. Mitch Foreman wrote and performs all the music on Out to Lunch. Mitch's new album, Puzzle, is out now. You can find out more about that at mitchellforeman.com. You can get this show as a podcast, you can listen to past shows, and you can keep up with us on all kinds of social media by going to our websites, itsbatonrouge.la and wrkf.org. Out to Lunch is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsbatonrouge.la and WRKF 89.3 FM. I'm Stephanie Riegel. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to meeting you again next week around the table here at Mansurs for more business Baton Rouge style on Out to Lunch.
Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker. Established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys and offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by Business First Bank, with locations throughout the state, including 11 offices in the Baton Rouge area, providing personal and commercial banking, treasury management, and wealth solution services to help clients succeed. Business First Bank. Banking with greater momentum at b1bank.com.